I really see a lot of touch points between the corona crisis and its impact on the one hand, and the non-financial reward parts of total rewards on the other hand. I see 7 elements which might be affected. First of all, we have the element of training and development. Of course, today, as a lot of people work from home, there is a lot of interest and a growing interest in digital learning, and there is also an interest in very specific topics such as leading virtual teams and such as leadership in times of crisis communication and things alike. The second dimension of those non-financial rewards impacted by Corona is about holidays. So today we see that a number of people try to postpone holidays until later because they are in periods of temporary unemployment and they are not allowed to travel, so the holidays are not very useful for them, which might be problematic, of course, if the economy takes up again and companies need capacity. So what I see is a number of interesting practices today. For example, there is a company that says, okay, you have to take up 60% of your holidays on an annual basis before the end of August. That's a possibility. Another company is saying it's not only about holidays, but also holy hours. What I mean by that is that normally in that company, holidays are taken per day or per half day, but now they also allow people to take hours of holiday. And why do they do it? Because it's not always easy for people to organize themselves, and it's even allowed to say at the end of the week the number of hours of holiday people have been taking during that week. Another practice is companies that give the bigger picture, which is very important. For example, a company that says we still expect a drop in Q2 and maybe even Q3, but we hope and we expect that in Q4 activity will seriously take up again. So please do some smart holiday planning and take that bigger picture into account. Another company says, in general, at this moment, we want an 80% availability of the people and the workforce power, I would say. So please they take that into account also for your holiday planning. The third dimension of non-financial rewards here includes flexible working and working from home. And of course, you have specific points of attention over there. Apparently, it is very important to bring structure to people, to also learn that they should bring structure in their day. And it's very important to also have connection points. For example, companies that have a virtual coffee break at a specific and a fixed moment every day. Companies that have one-on-one calls, companies that have team calls, that is very important, and also encouragement and emotional support. So I know companies that every day they send out a poll with very simple questions such as how happy have you been with the contact you have today? How have you been feeling today? So it's really important to keep touch. It's also very important for the line managers to do that. A fourth dimension of non-financial rewards, which is challenged during Corona times, deals with inclusion and participative management. Of course, people are, let's call it, in a social distance, which of course makes it in itself very difficult to include people. Here what is being recommended, what I would recommend is have regular information sessions by the top management and by the business unit leaders on how the company is going, how things are going overall, because people are rather isolated and they still need that overall picture. Also, if you organize meetings, it's very important, also virtual meetings, MS Teams meetings, that people still can give their input. You can foresee a possibility for anonymous voting and so on, so that people's voice is still being heard. And of course, also during crisis times, it's also always very important to hear people and to enable them to give suggestions. A fifth dimension of non-financial rewards impacted by Corona deals with job and work security. And of course, as we are in a difficult economic situation, this is very much at risk. However, I see different practices. I see companies, for example, putting, for example, the more junior people on a 100% unemployment and the other percent on a 100% employment. That's one practice. I see other companies that say, no, we go for more solidarity. We want to provide everybody with a certain percentage of employment which is guaranteed today, but that's not 100%. For example, we go based on your work regime, we go to a 70% employment and 30% unemployment. So that's a choice to be taken by the company, and it also depends on to what extent and to what degree they want to offer job and work security. The sixth dimension of non-financial rewards, which is related to Corona, deals with recognition. Again, we live in periods of social distancing, and here that recognition by line managers, bosses, colleagues might become even more important. So that is very, very much key also for people leading teams. Please do not forget to still recognize your workers. It might not be with financial rewards at this moment, but certainly recognize them, give them virtual hugs, say them, well, done a great job, and so on. And the seventh dimension of non-financial rewards impacted by Corona deals with the physical work environment. So you have people still in the workplace. There, of course, the whole issue of social distancing, security, safety is key. But for the people working from home, there also the ergonomics are quite important. What about office chairs? What about second screens and so on?